Hi, everyone, and welcome to the CEO podcast. I'm Ravele.
And I'm Bobbie, who's sleep deprived, only on 2 hours sleep, but I'm here.
You haven't had any sleep, mate. I ain't slept for like 3 years. Thank God for concealer.
So shall we tell everyone why we created CEO?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we created it because we feel like there's times that you feel, even when I was a little child, that we meant for more, uh,
100%.
right?
Mm.
And because of that feeling, regardless of what choices we've made, where we thought we've compromised or whether we're on the journey we're supposed to be, you do sometimes feel, like I do every time, that I was destined for more. So we created CEO to empower other women to live their best life, the life that they actually want to live,
Yep,
by teaching them and helping them level up
yep.
through better health, wealth.
Beauty, self care, investment. You could do it all. Anything. The world is your oyster, ladies. You just got to believe in yourself. So we're here to, yeah, basically teach you the skills. So we're going to go into so many different aspects on this podcast. And the very first one will be about something personal to me, and it's all about health.
Absolutely. So, Raval, tell us about your story and how did you hear the news that you have cancer?
Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to our CEO podcast, first of many. And so I was diagnosed with cancer last year, but if you take it back, the story started maybe a year and a half ago, and that was with loads of tests from the NHS. If you refer back to my TikTok, I have a full 10-part series on how it all came about, but I'll briefly summarize it for everybody. It started when I was due a smear, and we was actually in COVID at the time, so I missed my appointment. Bear in mind, in between I've had children, and the nurses or doctors never picked anything up. And because we was in the pandemic, nobody was really going to the hospital at the time, so I was due the smear. Um, there was a lot of discomfort that I was facing, and for some reason, I spoke to somebody that I know in healthcare, and she said that maybe it's because you haven't had your smear, so let's get that done. So we had the smear test, and weeks went by, and then the results came back as abnormal cells. I then had an appointment, and the appointment was for a further follow up, which was a colposcopy and a wound biopsy. In between that, they told me that it's pre-cancer cells, and I was told not to worry. Everything will be fine. So I still didn't think anything of it. So we're at the start of the year, and I'm still thinking everything's going to be fine.
Mm.
So I have a wound biopsy and a colposcopy, which was very painful, and I asked to be put to sleep with the wound biopsy. Months went by and I never heard no results. I called up the hospital and I asked them where are my results, and they said that it's gone for a second opinion.
Mm.
We're now towards the end of the year, we're in October, and bear in mind by now my symptoms are creeping up. So I'm sleeping 14 hours a day. I'm very, very, very like uncomfortable, and I know that something's not right. So I was preparing for the worst. So when the doctor eventually called me into the hospital, they said, "We're sorry to tell you that you have stage 1B1 cancer. And yeah, not to worry, we will do an operation and you will have chemo and radio. But bear in mind, there's a 6 week waiting list and we're coming into Christmas soon." I said, "Okay." Doctor also told me that because you haven't had an MRI scan,
Mm.
we're going to have an MRI scan and we will find out exactly what stage you are. I said, "That's fine." I was upset. I was a bit shocked, but I was relieved because I was told it was stage 1B1 and they've caught it early. Anyway, fast forward, the week went, I had the MRI scan. I was called back in, and this time the tone was completely different. There was no, there was no confidence in my consultant's voice. There was like, "Yeah, we're really sorry to tell you, we didn't pick this up on the MRI scan, but you're actually stage 3C, and it's spread. Your cancer spread into your lymph nodes." And I said, "Okay, so what does this mean?" And they said, "We'll try our best." I said, "But that's not what you told me last week. Last week you told me that, I've got a good chance of survival. What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, we can only try our best." And I said, "Okay, are we still going to operate?" And they said, "No, when it's stage 3C, when it's stage 2 or above, when it's stage 1 and 2, we operate. When it's stage 3, 4, there's no operation." I asked the consultant's assistant, I said, she was in the room, I said, why can't you operate on me? Why can't you remove the cancer, remove the tumor? She said, because it will damage your bladder. That's what I was told. So then I said to ask my consultant, my doctor, I said, so what are my options? And they said, well, your doctor's on annual leave and we're coming into Christmas. By now we're in November. So we're looking to get you in the new year. So that's where they left me. They left me at that. And that was it. So obviously I was shocked. Yeah, and that was it.
So what made you decide to explore natural healing instead?
So the fact that my own doctors, I kind of lost trust in them because they've been testing me for a whole year and they didn't know. And the reason that I wanted to try my own methods was because I had time as well. Number one, I had time as well. So they've given me a time frame of 3 to 4 months before they're even going to do anything. So what are other options? Now I'm Pakistani, and a lot of my family and friends have gone to Pakistan. And as we know, the global south, Pakistan, India, Africa, these kind of places, they're a lot more healthy than us, right? So in Pakistan, there's a hospital that I know is very good with cancer. So we had a time frame. So we said, let's just go for a second opinion. So we went for a second opinion. And in the meantime, I was speaking to myself, which is you, Bobbie, who was on a call to me every day, and we were researching, holistic ways, herbal ways. What can we do to stop this cancer growth? Because right now I've been told that they don't understand, but it's gone into my lymph nodes. And the only option I have with them is chemo and radio, which is in 3 to 4 months' time. So I had no choice, but I had to start looking elsewhere. So there were the two things I did. Number one was I booked a flight abroad to get the cancer removed, which did happen. So I went abroad to Pakistan, and then they took the cancer out. They took the tumor out within a couple of days. I was literally checked into the hospital, and they did it straight away. And the second thing was I was constantly on a call with yourself, and we were going back and forth. So we took a lot of inspiration from Dr. Berg, Dr. Barbara O'Neill, and Dr. Sebi, and we just looked at natural healing ways and what we can do. And I came to realize, because I'll be honest with you, before this, yes, my diet wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Like, I had to go through this to realize how important my diet should have been. So yeah, that is how that came about.
Tell us a little bit about, what actual herbal remedies you actually went for.
Okay, sure. So the number one thing about cancer that I learned is that it thrives in an acid environment. So the opposite of acid is alkaline. So I was looking at things that will make my body alkaline. What food intake, what drink, what can I take? So turmeric in milk every night, black seed oil. But the number one thing that I took, and which I found, which was not that common and not heard of, was the soursop leaf. The soursop fruit is separate, but the soursop leaves. So that kept coming up when I was researching it. And you yourself mentioned soursop leaves to me so many times because you've taken it for many years. So yeah, so the number one thing was the soursop leaves. And the moment I started taking that, I straight away started feeling better already.
So how often were you taking soursop leaf? Just
2 to 3 times a day. I
two
was
to three
taking it
times.
first time in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
I was taking it midday, and I was taking it before I went to sleep.
Yeah. For those who don't know what soursop leaf is, it's very prevalent in the global south. In the global south, they're renowned for having tea throughout the day, whether that's Middle East, Asia, or Africa. And you might come to learn that the leaf is the healer, while the fruit also supports attacking dead cells like cancer. So the fact that you took religiously that tea, you're confident that was one of the main reasons why your healing journey began.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Before that, I was very weak. So a cancer patient, if there's anyone listening who's got cancer, will know we sleep for about 14 hours because the cancer's eating you up. So, but the moment I started taking the soursop leaves, my energy started coming back. My skin went like a greyish color when I had cancer, and then it slowly started getting back to vibrant, and yeah, I just felt more alive. Does Does that make sense? So inside, internally, I could feel it. Yeah. Um, it wasn't just that. The number one thing I'd say as well is diet and its environment. So me going abroad helped as well because I was in a less stressed environment.
Mm.
So that really helped me as well. And I was in nature. And this is what we're talking a lot about, that it doesn't matter what illness you have, it actually comes down to your diet and your environment. So a lot of people do, you know, like the, let's say if a person is not well, they're going to be probably worse off in a room, in a dark room, whereas if they were sitting outside in not even just the sun, just in nature, because that's how our body is supposed to be. So I feel like the decisions I made really helped, in my healing journey.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting for us to sort of highlight also that the West tends to have the fast-paced life, the highly stressed life, we might not eat the best foods because you could, having fast foods, going to bed late, having processed food. It's crazy. You're drinking tap water rather than alkaline clean water. Your choices, those atomic choices that you're making, they all compound, don't they?
Yes.
And it all leads to, hence why in the West it's more prevalent that cancer is a pandemic, to say the least.
Well, when we was doing the research, there was something that we came across, which is the Hunza Valley, right?
Yes.
Do you want to let the viewers know about the Hunza Valley?
For those who don't know, around the world there's some zones called blue zones, and the study around blue zones are that these people live far longer lives than the average, because the average age is 76 around the world, and people in the blue zones live above 100 quite comfortably, up to the age of 160. And there's one particular zone which is north of Pakistan. It's called Hunza. Hunza Valley is between three valleys that come together. They live at the peak of that valley, so they have fresh air. They have incredible water in that valley, and they live off something called apricot. And that apricot we're all familiar with, but what you don't know is, as a superfood, they cook everything in with its oil, and that kernel, the seed that actually comes out of the fruit, is one of the biggest cancer fighting superfoods out there. So the fact that we did immense amount of research when you were diagnosed, and we know the friends and family members who have cancer got obsessed with trying to find cures, natural cures, and that's where we came across the incredible village of Hunza
Valley. And also the fact that they live till the age of 160. The women don't wrinkle, right, with that
Not at all.
kernel oil. So there's so
Incredible.
many benefits. So what does that tell us? So even if we're living in the West, so somebody that's living in a poorer country, why are they living more healthier life than us? What is it? What's the difference?
When you look at research and you look at historical data, and you go from the West to the global South, say you're traveling in Africa, they have the most perfect teeth, because they have the clearest skin. Yes. And why is that?
And they're so healthy.
They are so healthy in comparison, because they have God's nature, which is sun, the earth. They eat everything natural, and everything is organic, and they're not on water from the tap, etc. It's all coming fresh from their local environment, rather than.
It's because they're around nature as well.
They are.
They're around nature,
which is a healer, because you're earthing, and everything is energy. So the energy out there is incredible. I remember my journey last year when I was in Zanzibar, and the locals were absolutely incredible. They were so happy. Whichever angle you took, from an adult to a child, they just had smiles on their faces.
Really happy people.
Yeah. Living very content with a basic life. I mean, they have God's, sand, sea, and the sun. But when you meet these people, all you see is energy, love, happiness, peace. They may not be rich, but they're rich. They're rich in other ways.
Rich in the ways that we should be rich, right?
Absolutely.
Health is wealth, right?
Absolutely. So should we tell our viewers how we actually went from your journey to then Bish Organics?
Bish Organics, yes. So off the back of my cancer story, a lot of my followers on Instagram, following Instagram, were following the story and wanted updates. So I was posting a lot about soursop leaves.
I think it's important to say at this stage that you have a lot of love from your
Yeah,
followers.
I do. Oh my
And
God. They were
they
with
were
me.
so
They were
concerned.
so concerned. They was
Yeah,
like literally like when I told them I'm jumping on, like I've got cancer, it was like everybody was like, what? And
yeah.
yeah, hundreds and
I was
hundreds of DMs.
devastated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like that actually was a really good outlet for me because I was so, I was really stressed at the time, so I
mm,
needed that, and I got that from, my followers, lovely, lovely people. Um, what it was if I could help even one person, I'll do it, right? And we've always said this as well, that's what we should be doing in life.
serving
Yeah,
others.
serving others. So the reason I told my cancer story was even though being Asian, we typically don't like to share a lot of things, and this
That's
is
right.
maybe a taboo subject. I felt the need to tell people to let them know that I'm not going to be the only one, and I know I'm not the only one because I personally know about 34 people with cancer right now.
Mm,
34. And we know in our Bish DMs how many people have cancer,
that's
right?
right.
So we know that this is just going to get worse and worse. So how can we help? How can we help?
Absolutely.
I was a living example that I was let down by the NHS. I
Mm,
was let down, and I know I was let down because when I returned, when I came back,
mm-hmm,
and I asked my doctor, I
mm,
says, "Why did you tell me that you can't operate on me
mm.
because it's too dangerous?" You know what my consultant said to me? "We're sorry about that." I said, "What's sorry gonna do?" I said, "Yeah, we're sorry about that." So I know that I'm not like bashing the NHS. I know that they're really busy, and I know that they've got too many.
They're
Uh,
overwhelmed
Overwhelmed.
and they
Yeah,
don't have the budget,
they don't
and
have the
best
budget.
talent is leaving the UK. And we all know how it collapsed through
Yeah,
the
yeah,
COVID period.
yeah.
So, it's evident that we need to be our own doctors at
Yeah,
home.
sometimes, yeah, because prevention is better than cure, right?
It is. It is.
So because everybody was asking where, like, what did you do?
Mm,
So I was able to guide them on the for certain things I did, like number one, earthing, number one, calming down. Like I don't heat my food in the microwave anymore.
mm,
Drinking alkaline water. These kind of things I could show them. Like I could say to them, put a lemon in water. But then they was asking certain things because I was mentioning sour sop leaves and I
mm,
was mentioning black seed oil and I
mm,
was mentioning turmeric. So they can get turmeric, you can get black seed oil. But there's like, where do we get this sour sop leaf from?
mm.
Now, when I first got the sour sop leaves, it was from a local shop. However, the sour sop leaves were like, I think they were out of date and they were really small. So I was like, I can't really show this to my
Dried.
followers. Yeah. So
Mm.
that's when me and you had our
Came in.
conversation and you was already
Absolutely.
taking sour sop leaves.
Yeah, so my
So,
trip from Africa, I went to a few countries around that area, and when I arrived back, I had no other option but to adopt their diet.
yeah, of course.
I felt like jackfruit, taking all their teas. I bought a whole list of different herbal teas, but the king tea
The
for
king
me
tea.
was a soursop. And I was shocked when you sent me the images of your soursop leaves, the
Yeah.
ones you bought locally. And then I think that's when I reached out to the farmers, the local farmers, to say, can we just get a few batches in as well for my friend Ravele?
Yeah.
But then you started telling me that you had a number of interests, coming through on your DMs
Because
regularly. They were like, what is it,
what is this?
firstly,
Our
and
family
how can I
members got
get it?
cancer. What do we
Yeah,
do? What do we do? And it's important to mention that sour sop leaves is not just for cancer. This is
no.
just related to my story, but it's if you research the benefits of sour sop leaves,
Should we talk through its benefits?
yeah. So we'll yeah, Bobby, go ahead with all the benefits, and then
Yeah.
we'll
So
see.
soursop leaf is a anti-inflammatory. So what it does to the body is it actually kicks and fights any virus inside your body. So it helps you regulate your blood sugars. It's very good for reducing acid in your stomach as well. It's incredible for cleaning out your liver, your kidneys. It actually balances your hormones, so you're not getting many issues at the time of the month.
Yeah,
And obviously, it's a massive kick to cancer
yeah,
as well. So it has a huge impact on our skin, hair, and nails, and even our sleeping habits.
yeah. I take it to
Um,
go to sleep. Yeah,
in my family, I have people who absolutely enjoy taking it to lose weight,
yeah.
which is
Really good.
major because we can't control
Yeah,
our weight.
PCOS, right?
I mean, that's why I took it.
Yeah,
I was after COVID, which I was blessed enough not to get a virus through it, but I was diagnosed with POX.
mm,
POX means I had very high cortisol levels,
yeah,
and I had issues sleeping in the evening, and soursop absolutely kicked butt.
yeah. So yeah, so because of the the benefits of the soursop leaves, I was like, this is something that
We have to.
everybody needs to know about. But I feel like there's only so much you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's only so much you can say because we're not allowed to say too much, are we? Because
No,
big pharma don't like.
no.
Yeah.
And
So
we're not here to take
we're
them
not here.
on.
We're
We're
not here.
just here to give you options. We're trying to build a organization, an environment, a go-to community where you could come and, share your sort of stories with each other and have access to the global south's medicine. And
Yeah.
that
The
is
herbal medicine,
natural herbal
natural.
medicine.
Yeah. Organic. So
Yeah.
because there were so many people saying that my family member has cancer or
Mm,
I'm going through depression, I want to lose weight, what is this, because they did a bit of research and they're like, where did you get it from?
mm.
That, okay, so
Because they're
now there's,
confused, right?
yeah, and remember we spoke, I said
Yeah.
there's hundreds of people asking for this.
That's
What do we
right.
do?
So I think I called you one evening. It was like very late in the evening, very naughty of me. I rang you around 11
Yeah,
p.m.
you did.
We both got really motivated on that call and said, why don't we just do this?
Yeah,
So I think we sat down. I reached out that same evening on
yeah,
my WhatsApp to our
farmers.
connects in the farmer world, in the farms in Africa and South Asia, and we both sat there and said, you know what, let's do it. So we built the website. I think we started about midnight
Yeah,
that evening, and by 3 in the morning,
yeah,
we had a logo made,
yeah.
we had our suppliers ready on the back end sorted, and we created a platform really quickly. We didn't make it live for 24 hours, but within the space of like 3 hours,
Yeah, we
Bish
did.
was born.
Yeah, Bish was born. And
And do you want to tell everyone what Bish actually stands for now?
yeah, yeah, because we know that the word might seem something else, but Bish actually stands for beauty in Shifa. And Shifa, the meaning of Shifa in Arabic is healing, like the
Yes.
healing, the sunnah way of healing.
Yes.
And we thought, so as women, everybody wants to be beautiful, right?
Mm,
But unless we're internally like well in ourselves, that's what's going to actually show on the outside. So you've got to be
absolutely.
right, you've got to be healthy on the inside, and there's nothing more beautiful than being actually healthy
And
from
to
the
love
inside and
yourself,
to love yourself.
to love yourself is how
Because
you treat yourself, what you
your body
consume.
is your temple, right? Your body
Exactly.
is actually your temple. It's what we carry
Exactly.
with us. I had to go through cancer to realize how blessed I am and
Mm,
how important my health is. So sometimes we have to go through something
we do.
to realize how important it is.
Yeah, your story was very like emotional to me,
Yeah.
but I think the inspiration of it all is the fact that you live to tell the tale. But not only that, you're not doing a victory on your own. You
Yeah.
actually want to help as many people as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
And these few months since the inception of Bish Organics have been an incredible journey, haven't
Incredible.
they?
We literally, was it a couple of days ago, we had someone in the DM saying, you guys are giving us hope.
Yeah.
Because I'm not being funny, but there's not much aftercare when you get
Hmm.
told you've got cancer. It's just like, okay, you got cancer, see you when it's time to see you.
Hmm.
Then people are left on their own then.
I
What do
think
they
it's
do?
important to say that, when it's yourself or it's somebody else that you love or someone that you know that is going through it, they think their only option is chemo. And we are trying to educate as best as we can with the knowledge that we're finding from actual experts that have alternative solutions, whether it's the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or whether it is Dr. Sebi, who no longer lives, but his legacy does, because he's an incredible individual. Please do research him,
Please do
everyone.
research Dr. Sabi, and we all know what happened there with
Yeah,
Dr.
we do.
Sabi. Yeah, we
But
won't go
Dr.
into it, but yeah.
But Dr. Sebi was an incredible man who saved many, many lives through his life. He dedicated his life curing
Did.
AIDS, cancers, tumors, all sorts of
And what did Dr.
diseases.
Sabi say? Everything is what? Mucus? It's
Yes,
all mucus.
it really is.
And what do? We have to alkalize our body.
Yeah, and soursop and black seed oil and turmeric fight
Apricot kernel.
mucus. Yeah, absolutely.
So many, yeah, so
Mm.
many. So soursop leaves is like literally was my go-to, and I do believe that I would not be in. I'm not saying I wouldn't be here, but I'm saying I
Mm.
know I'm healthy,
Hmm.
alhamdulillah, and I know that it's because of the diet. It's literally what I've been taking.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would be struggling right now. And I know a few people who are in the same boat as me, stage 3C. Bear in mind, stage 3C, you're borderline stage 4. Then you've got a couple
Wow.
of months left. Then that's what they tell you, right?
Mm.
You know. So when I came back, you know what my consultant said? Wow, I've never seen you this healthy in my life, and this is off the back. And I said, well, it's my diet. The funny thing is, Bobby, when I was told I had cancer, I asked the doctor, I said, so should I be, what can I have sugar? Absolutely, you can have sugar. There's nothing wrong with you having sugar. And
That's
what do they
madness.
tell you about sugar when you have cancer? It's the biggest Cancer thrives with sugar, doesn't it?
It does. So
That's what they're telling me.
two main points to avoid is anything acidic that will increase your acidity, and sugars, because sugar is the food of cancer.
Yeah. So I was like,
So
I'm not getting
that's
any.
shocking.
I'm not getting any right information
Shocking.
here. I have to, look elsewhere.
Absolutely. And we're so glad that you did.
And not only is Bish there just to, provide soursop, it's actually a community where people can come and talk to us. They be in our DMs, don't they? And then they just want someone to talk to.
And
Just want something to
because of the conversations we've been having with them most evenings, because we go live on Instagram and TikTok, they were our inspiration to why we created the digital ebook, which is how to live in a more natural way, and it covers everything from lifestyle choices like earthing and going in nature, and forgiveness and what that does for the body, prayer, meditation, calming the nervous system, how to get a very strong body, biohack your way to health, and kick out anything that is disturbing your peace and your work. Prioritize your mental and physical health.
Exactly. Everything does go back to our. So I read somewhere the other day, we have two brains. We have one in the head and we have one in the gut. That's why it's called your gut instinct.
Yeah.
So we have to look after it. We have to look after our gut, and that ties back to our mental. So if we're not right inside, have you ever felt like when you've had a really sluggish meal, it's more depressed?
Really?
But if somebody's in the gym working out, they feel, mentally they feel happier. So
And
even if
energized.
you're just making a few small steps to,
It's all about good habits. All about
feel
you do
inside as well.
you do, and that is the reason why in this community, what's inspiring is when we're having our callers come on our lives, they're always suggesting some incredible steps that they're doing to inspire the rest of us. So all we can do is empower each other.
That's right.
Share this knowledge.
That's right. Yeah.
In a safe space. So as we come close to the end of our first episode, I wanted to understand from your perspective, if you could give one piece of advice to women out there, what would that be?
It would be to love yourself, because nobody else is going to love you. It would be to look after yourself. Even though this goes for men as well, right? We all get kind of lost in work, in family, kids. And then at the end of it, when SHIT hits the fan, what happens then? You know what I mean? It's still you that has to deal with it. So I would say to everybody, prevention is better than cure. We live in this country, or whatever country you're from. If you are from the global south, that is amazing. If you're not, and we're not, I wish I was from the global south, but we're not. So we don't have sun, we don't have organic food, so we don't have certain things, we don't have certain benefits. What we do have is a very paced life and a lot of stress. So I'd say just do to make small changes for yourself, because only you can do it for you. Nobody else will do it for you. Nobody will hold your hand.
Yeah, no one's going to save you.
Nobody will save you.
No one will come to save you.
Yep.
You have to pick yourself first.
And don't rely on anybody else either.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's only you, and it's your life.
Absolutely.
And just take inspiration from other people.
Indeed.
And share knowledge.
So Ravele, thank you so much for having the courage to share your personal story with us. I'm sure everybody, can take so much benefit from it.
I hope so, yeah.
Takes a lot of courage.
It was needed, right? It has to be done.
Yeah.
One person has to, be a voice. And actually, yeah. I was never sad about having cancer, because alhamdulillah, we're Muslim, right? So anything that happens is a test. So I feel like this was my test. And what am I going to do with this? Am I going to sit there and be sad? Am I going to sit there and ask God, why me? Or am I going to be grateful for what I do have? So again, like I said, having cancer for me, I feel like it was a gift. And if anything, I just want everybody to know that it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter how bad it is. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, but you do have to take them steps as well. That is what I literally want to tell the world.
So our next episode is going to be about Ramadan and how to optimize it and prep well. So tune in.
Thank you everyone for listening to your podcast. See you on the next one.